Vegetarians and vegans have been buying beef and pork. Non-alcoholics have been stocking up in whiskey and rum. Diabetics have been buying ice cream. And old grandmothers have been buying condoms. The coronavirus death rate is 34 times higher than standard seasonal flu, and they're not telling us. There is a mess even between the experts concerning statistics. Somebody says it's 2%, somebody says it's 3.4%, and also we're going to go through the overview of mortality rate by age. Statistically, what are your chances? Last but not least, we're going to do some mathematics where 2 plus 2 is 4, and where we will be able to calculate the exact percentage of deaths compared to confirmed cases worldwide, which I repeat is at the moment 3.4% and not 0.1% as they would like us to believe. Welcome to this edition of the Coronavirus Show. Just for a quick and pleasant appetizer, this is something I found on Twitter about 2 weeks ago. As you'll see, this is a progression from day 0, day 4, to around day 42, which is around mid-February. That's where this video stopped. And this is just to give you an idea. So this is day 42, this is around mid-February. I presume this was recorded at that time, so since then we all know that we haven't got 43,000 cases in the world. As of today, 3rd of March 2020, we've got more than 90,000. And this was just a quick comparison with all the other famous viruses, MERS, Ebola, swine flu and SARS. And when everybody keeps telling us that coronavirus and the flu are more or less similar, they are not. Coronavirus now has a mortality rate 34 times more than the seasonal flu. Let's do some mathematics. So let's get this straight out of the way. Comparing the seasonal flu to coronavirus, as we hear from politicians, journalists and experts on television, in the newspapers, and they're all doing this because they're shit scared that we will get shit scared. And up till now, they're telling us that the normal seasonal flu in the USA, which applies to Europe and most of the rest of the world, is the same as coronavirus. This is not so. I'm going to read this out loud. For comparison, the case fatality rate with seasonal flu in the United States is less than 0.1%, which means 1 death per every 1,000 cases. Here we have a table of swine flu, MERS, SARS, and coronavirus, and here we have 2%. And it says here estimate. We'll get to that in a minute. So where I come from, 2 plus 2 is 4 and not 1.5. So if we take 2% and 0.1%, let's do the maths. 0.1 times 10 is 1. 0.1 times 20 is 2%. So in this case, coronavirus is 20 times more dangerous concerning the death rate than the average seasonal flu. And this is just one statistic. If we go to the next one, this one is updated as of March the 2nd, 2020, which is this actual moment when I'm recording this. Actually, I'm recording this after midnight, so it's now March the 3rd. Again, various statistics for other viruses. COVID-19 is 3.4%. So remember, whatever percent is 1 death in 1,000 cases. 0.1 is 1 death in 1,000 cases concerning seasonal flu. 2% for coronavirus is 20 times more than this. 3.4 is 34 times more than 0.1. And we're still counting. And apart from that, while we're on this table, just look at this. Number of countries infected: 9 Ebola, 2 Nipah, SARS 29, MERS 28, coronavirus 68, and it's only 2 months. And another thing is, look at all these cases. Ebola 33,000, coronavirus 89. Actually, now when I'm recording this, we're over 90. The most interesting thing here is all these other viruses have died out. Well, They really haven't, but there are some sporadic cases of Ebola. They're not an issue today. Coronavirus, we're still counting. Now, if we really want to confirm these statistics, let's put it to the test. How do we get the 3.4% or the 2%, blah, blah, blah? Very simple. We get out a calculator, and before we calculate these percentages, let's go further and look at the actual state of affairs today, the 3rd of March, a little bit after midnight, 2nd of March 2020. Now, I've made screenshots so that I can simplify my recording the tutorial, and you will see here published 2 weeks ago on February 2020, 17th February. I will include all the links below. This is the actual page now. If I refresh this, I still get this published 2 weeks ago. These people started publishing this more than 2 weeks ago, but this is the actual status today, yeah? There are currently 90,301 confirmed cases worldwide, including 3,086 fatalities. Let's just have a look at my screen capture here. Yeah, it's the same. I screen captured this about 2 hours ago, so it's still the same. They update this once a day. This is a very useful thing here. Here you can see all the cases for China. Then they had to do a second database for the rest of the world. Unfortunately, Italy is leading there quite a lot. And down below here, you have you have a map as well, things that are going on, where all the dots are appearing. This was empty 3 weeks ago. This was completely empty apart from China. And then below here, we have all the timelines and when what happened. I'll include the links below. How do we calculate the 3.4% or the 2%? Well, if you know how to use Excel, you can do it in Excel. If you're a good mathematician, which I'm not, you can do it in your head. But I will use an example of a calculator. And this is actually how we calculate the 3.4% or whatever. 90,301 cases. To get the percentage, we first have to divide this, or whatever number we have there, by 100. Divide by 100. And then we have to multiply it by the percentage that we want. In this case, I'm aiming at 3.4%, so I will do 3.4% equals, and there we have it. It's a little bit more than 3.4%. So 3.4% more or less of 90,301 confirmed cases is more or less 3,000 fatalities. So just remember that the coronavirus at the moment is 34 times more dangerous concerning the death rate than seasonal flu. Last but not least, there is also this table, which is actually quite interesting, concerning the actual mortality rate by age. So from 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, basically from 10 years to 40 years, your chance of dying if you catch coronavirus is 0.2%. That is twice as much as the seasonal flu. Remember, the seasonal flu is 0.1% or less. From 40 to 50 is twice as much, 0.4. 50 to 59 is 3 times as much as if you're 40 to 49. And then, of course, it spirals up. So 60 to 69 is 3.6, 70 to 79 is 8, 80 plus is 14. Now, the main thing to understand here is when they're calculating the statistics, obviously they're not taking into account that more people above the average age of 50 have a bigger chance of dying if they unfortunately get infected via coronavirus, because they already have old age and other underlying diseases like cardio disease, heart disease, respiratory diseases like some problems with the lungs, asthma, and even diabetes. And this is the problem why the coronavirus has already been in Italy, for example, since January, because January is the flu season, and people who were going to hospital with breathing difficulties, the doctors were just looking at, oh, this guy's got normal flu. Since it exploded in China, and here in Europe at least, and now in the USA, they started measuring the data, they have tests to figure out, no, this guy hasn't got the flu or pneumonia, he's got coronavirus. Only now they're talking about it because only now they've come up with it, that in the USA and here in Europe, because in China, God knows what they're telling us, Iran, I don't even want to talk about Iran, but here now they've started to figure out that people have been going around infected via coronavirus for ages. And this is the main problem. The biggest problem with coronavirus is up till today, the 3rd of March, 2020, nobody has put a spot on the fact of how long the incubation period is. First they used to say it's 14 days, now they found people who've been going around for 4 weeks, infecting other people. They just do not know. And that is why the quarantine, the so-called quarantine of 14 days, is completely ridiculous. You come from a skiing holiday, I'm sorry Italians, but you know, you're the center of the attention now. Sorry to use you guys as an example. You come from a skiing holiday from Italy, so you tell the authorities, oh, I've been in the infected areas in Italy, Italy, they put you into quarantine for 14 days. They do a test before, you haven't got it, but you stay in the quarantine, and after the 14 days, you get a test if you're positive for coronavirus. If you're not, they let you go. That is complete nonsense. If they don't know what the incubation period is, why do they let you go after 14 days? You should be locked up for a month. And I can only laugh at the people who, lucky them, who were put in quarantines around the world, like stay at home or stay in a hotel, and they're complaining, I haven't got anything to do, I want to go out. Jesus Christ, open YouTube or just read a book and be lucky and thank God that you're not dying yet. Anyway, the moral of this story is, statistically, coronavirus up till today is 34 times more dangerous concerning the mortality rate than seasonal flu or flu is, and journalists, newspapers, TV news, and politicians, and all those firemen, and I mean firemen as a metaphor, all those people who've got to put out this panic fire, they are lying to us. And it would be better if they told us the truth. Hey guys, you're fucked. You're going to have to spend more time in quarantine, and basically the death rate for coronavirus is a bit higher than seasonal flu. Jesus Christ. 2 + 2 is 4.